Welcome, 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 family, back to the channel, Indigo Angel. Come on into this dimension and come on into a Guardian Gridwork update where we're going to be revealing some Trinity Site locations that I have been diving into as the 33.3 degree parallel and ley line right now is very activated. And according to the scientist purge that is going on at this time, where we have all of the dozens of elite scientists that are connected to top secret anti-gravity technology, free energy technology, nuclear technology, rods of the god technology, UFO reverse engineering programs, you know, David Wilcock, basically all the ones that are vanishing or turning up dead. And we know that there has been no coincidence in all of this. So I have been highly guided to go and look at some of the specific locations that these scientists have been connected to, such as JPL, such as Los Alamos, such as Huntsville, Alabama, where this was what Amy Eskridge was connected to. And what I have been seeing in terms of grid work emerging from putting all these locations on the map is that I'm seeing that there is a Trinity. There's multiple Trinity sites that are coming forward. And, this really, really makes sense that the Trinity sites would be sitting on the 33.3 degree ley line and parallel. So I'm really excited to dive into this with you guys. This has been on my mind like almost obsessively since yesterday, since the JPL, um, the Death Mystery Deepens video that I did. I have been thinking about this. I have been being guided to tune into these locations, to do a little channeling, to do a little deep dive, to do a little remote viewing even as we tune into these Trinity sites. Okay, so the first Trinity site that I came across was the White Sands Roswell Los Alamos Triangle, where Roswell is sitting on the 33.3 degree parallel. The other Trinity site that I've been tuning into is Area 51, the Nellis site, which is where, the tall whites have been coming forward, and then Tonopah as well. And also, this one over here, that is the JPL connection. And this one is the JPL Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the Edwards Air Force Base, and China Lake. And China Lake, you guys, don't even get me started on this one. Okay, China Lake is where really they are developing some really negative, heavy weapon systems and things like this. So we have a lot to get into today. We are definitely going to be deep diving these Trinity sites and talking about this and how they're running on the 33.3 degree ley line in parallel and how this is connected to ultimately what is going on and that these are very activated sites at these times. And there's a lot of intel to come through here just by tuning into the grid. So come on in and check on in for this live, you guys. Put a big like on this video, share this video out, comment on this video, let me know what you guys think. You do have to be subscribed to the channel for at least 60 seconds to get into the chat. So if you want to tune on into the chat, that's how you get in. And I have my camera up in the corner today, and that is because I don't want to go full face on this. I almost even wanted to cover my video camera for this one just because I didn't want any sort of like AI interfacing or any sort of like infiltration that could come through my laptop. As I know that the weapon systems right now are highly activated on the planet, they're in full use. Um, The roaches are scattering. And honestly, I think these weapon systems are out of control. I mean, a lot of these scientists that were struggling with all of this, we're talking about having Havana syndrome and things like this, and how, cars, unmarked cars were like parked outside of their houses with the windshields tinted and things like this, and they're shooting laser beams in their house. So, I mean, this is next level stuff that we're talking about. This isn't no like kitty in the playground type of stuff. This is like the big dog stuff. You know what I mean? This is like what the whole ET disclosure movement is currently about right now, where this is being highlighted, where this is being activated, where this is like really holding all of the potential and these Trinity corridors, right? So these Trinity sites are definitely planetary shock nodes. So what you're looking at here on my map with the White Sands, Roswell, Los Alamos Triangle, Trinity Site on the 33rd parallel, this is a shock location in the grid. It's a location where massive energy is being discharged. It's being reorganized matter at the atomic level. It is being marked as a threshold moment in human consciousness, right? With disclosure. And essentially, it is a rupture zone in the planetary field with all of the nuclear testing that they're doing here, right? So these are kind of like they are ruptures, meaning that they're ripping open holes in the space-time field. This is probably why so much ET, well, it's probably one of the reasons why so much ET contact is coming through here, because they've been ripping open the space-time dimensions to allow ET races into this dimension is through these Trinity zones, right? Um, Area 51, Nellis, Tonopah, like this is so lit right now, you guys. This is so activated. If you didn't know, as of right now, there have been uh in the past 24 hours alone, 17 earthquakes that have rattled the Area 51 region. They're saying that there have been 4.4 magnitude quakes just 2.5 miles underground in this Trinity zone. Okay. And all of this is happening as we're having activity of Trump discussing about the release of the UFO files from the Pentagon. And I asked the question then, are these quakes the result of nuclear testing, right? Are they trying to detonate their underground tunnels and bunkers in the Trinity Zone? Are they trying to do something more calculated? Are they trying to get rid of evidence? Are they, what are they doing? How is it that in the last 24 hours, 17 earthquakes have rattled the Area 51 region? I mean, this is pretty interesting, right? I mean, that whole area, there's so much security, but thermonuclear devices might be going off, collapsing the entire underground complexes if they've breached these things. So, I mean, I think it's just a little strange. I think it's a little strange that we have 17 earthquakes that are going off around Area 51. That is rare. That is strange, you guys. That is weird. Okay. And so there's no coincidence in all of this. It's one unraveling after another. And it's honestly kind of disturbing that they might be testing nuclear devices and creating catastrophic stress on the fault lines, right? We already know that the San Andreas Fault is very unstable. It is not a stable tectonic plate. And it is the reason why there is so much, or one of the contributing factors why there is so much separation in those lands, and why there's so much hijacking, and why there's so much negative ET tampering. And yeah, I mean, I know you guys remember the fires. You remember the blue roofs and the smart meters and the whole running out of water and saving the fish and like, I mean, the whole uprising, right? I mean, it's been a mess. It's been an absolute mess. And here they are detonating nuclear devices potentially. It's a earthquake, right? Really close to this fault line. So, I mean, this is just, I don't think it's smart to be creating stress on the fault lines. So, I don't know if they're thinking these things through, so to speak. But, I guess also this whole area here in this particular Trinity zone, Area 51, Nellis, and Tonopah, that they've been, I think people have seen the mushroom clouds there from atmospheric tests at these Nevada test sites that, I mean, this is visible from hundreds of miles away. I mean, people can see this. People living in Las Vegas can see this stuff when they're doing stuff out there. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Basically, you guys, is we like to think of science as a good thing, but really at this point, science has been weaponized. I mean, the very tools that could elevate humanity are being twisted for destruction. And so I feel that these Trinity zones, which would be natural powered, I mean, this is a natural powered ley line. But again, this ley line is hijacked. Um, and look at where all these Trinity zones are, right? They're all sitting on that 33rd parallel, which is activated by the stargates. It's activated by the transformation of SS4, SS10. And we know those are lit right now with the Holy Wars and all of the stress that's on the fault line in the Middle East, that the East African Rift, all of this, right? So yeah, this goes deep. So for those of you that don't know what a Trinity site is, let me just kind of break this down a little bit more for you. As I just explained before, that in gridwork terminology, there are really Trinity sites all over the earth or all over the world. It's locations where there's heightened energy. Um, in a galactic sense and in a sense of galactic holographic architecture that's embedded within the Earth plane to assist humanity, that the Orions came forth and they brought forth something called Orion facilities. Orion facilities, and this is what I feel is that what is there underneath these Trinity locations are Orion facilities, which would be natural, encoded, and embedded living planetary structure that operates through triadic logic. So it has the threefold harmonic intelligence that resolves all of the polarity, coherence, and consciousness on the planet. It's like a receptacle that consumes all of the polarity, it consumes all of the imbalance, and its role is the restoration of that order within the planetary systems. And so it aligns it back into fixed structures, it aligns it back into and protects the crystalline um, areas, and it actually tries to create triaxial harmonic, so harmony within the gate site. And so really what I've seen psychically is that Orion facilities were located in sub-oceanic zones, but they were also located into ancient temple and megalithic foundations. But now I'm looking at this and I'm going, they must be also embedded along the 33rd point 3 degree parallel as well. These are supposed to be meant for upgrading the planet, um, upgrading the temporal fields, the mental fields of the planet, to bring forward more Orion diplomacy, to bring forward more precision over executing power and domination, to bring forward more resonance versus ET opposition and ET wars, to bring forth more neutrality versus all of the polarity that's on the planet. So I think that the original Trinity locations are the original Orion facilities and that they've been hijacked um, And they've been kind of turned into something that is being used to, again, create ruptures in the field. Um, the planetary shock nodes, right? So if they're implementing uh, forced or propagated earthquakes, right? If they're detonating things, then they're creating massive energetic discharge that's reorganizing the matter in those fields along the 33rd parallel. And they're doing it at an atomic level. This alters human consciousness. This creates ruptures within the planetary field of memory. It creates ruptures in the Akashic records. This is how they, again, could be deleting records. It's how they could be also trying to create timeline bifurcation markers. They're trying to split apart timelines. Honestly, you guys, they just turned CERN on the other day. I think it was yesterday or the day before. They powered up the largest CERN particle accelerator. And this may have something to do with the disclosure, again, like trying to alter the timelines of disclosure, trying to change those timelines and narratives or create some sort of control over it. I can tell you that these Trinity zones are definitely um, where rapid technological acceleration is occurring. Large scale technological acceleration is happening. Basically, AI lineage warfare, negative ET AI lineage warfare. They're creating forks in the road or forks in collective timeline potentials, like splitting them apart. Uh, Also, these are density zones. These are distortion zones. We're looking at distortion zones, okay? Area 51, Nellis, and Tonopah is a distortion zone. There's ruptures in the time fields here. Uh, White Sands, Roswell, Los Alamos, distortion zone, right? Nuclear particles are just floating in the air here. They're embedded in the ground. Um, this one here, the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Edwards Air Force Base, China Lake. It's a distortion zone, right? It's like they have rips and tears in the timeline mechanics there, and it's altered the environmental conditions. It's framed as a distorted field, and there is no harmonic structure. Basically, um, it's overlaid with how the physical has been affected so deeply that it's, I guess, tormented the spiritual realms. And you can see why it's bringing forward and through all of the types of sightings that, they've had here at these particular laboratories and these weapon system experimental zones. You're talking about the tall whites coming forward. The grays have been coming forward. The Nordics have been coming forward. Like there is a massive amount of ET claims in these particular locations, like the sightings here, because I think honestly the nuclear technology has influenced that somehow. That feels very true. The more acceleration of nuclear technology, the more ET contact is going to happen. The more ET contact will begin to expose itself into the 3D um, to create that shock value, but also to um, signal the attraction that's happening there. And also to signal and to try to teach humans that it is an ultra terrestrial relationship ultimately. But really, they're trigger points. Really, this is where, so much is happening. So there's a lot of evidence of extraterrestrial involvement always, but I think the ultra terrestrial part that's coming through with a lot of this is also very deep as well. And a lot of this has been led through development programs that they have, like the Manhattan Project. So, from the Guardian's perspective, what I've got is that the moment humanity reaches atomic level manipulation in these Trinity zones on the 33rd parallel, that it does initiate mass destructive capability. Not saying that it's going to create these negative timelines, but they do create like probability of these timelines, and that it does require oversight of stabilization because I'm sorry, but this is getting out of control. I mean, 17 earthquakes just went off in Area 51. I mean, that's got to be some sort of like indication here that something is going on. So they need to clean up the mess right now. They need containment protocols. They need to, you know, connect all of the parallels with the real world nuclear treaties and global monitoring systems, right? Where they have peace treaties over this stuff. They need to enact these here. They need to enact the peace treaties and like the nuclear safety measures and things like this. That needs to be, I mean, does anybody even know? Like, you know how we have certain organizations that have those oversights, right? We don't know what kind of oversight is going on here. I mean, if there even is any. So I think it's a call for correction and realignment, right? Especially in these Trinity zones, like that's what needs to happen here. Correction, realignment, um, the truth needs to come forward. When you strip all of this framework away, the Trinity really represents the first controlled, things that they were doing there. It goes back to the nuclear explosions, the atomic era of the geopolitics, the psychological realization that humanity now holds the power to create or destroy at a planetary scale, which is why it becomes so important in the grid work narrative because it's carrying all of the massive energy release. There's massive global consequence about these things. There's massive secrecy, murder. I feel like I'm watching a murder mystery. Like like an episode of The Traitors. The isolation that goes along with all this, the competition that goes along with all this. I mean, the only reason that Trump really even is probably pushing for this is because Obama came out and said something about it. You know what I mean? So this is really about trying to one up the competitors. And there's really just not a lot of honesty in this or about any of this at this time. I mean, if you guys have been paying attention to Stephen Greer at this time, he went on the Alex Jones show and he said, if they kill me, so be it. I'm ready to meet my maker. Like he's calling them out. I'm sure he was a little disheveled by the passing of David Wilcox, right? Like he's, basically talking about the scientist as well on Alex Jones' show. He's saying like, yeah, there's no coincidence in any of this. He actually came out and said that Amy Eskridge was assassinated, which we already knew that, but he's like publicly coming out and saying this now after her June 11th, 2022 suicide by gunshot, despite her leaving all these explicit warnings that her death would not be suicide. So he says, people have been knocked off for revealing much less than this. And it's just a mess. But it all comes back to these Trinity zones. It all comes back to the JPL, okay? The Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So hopefully, I'm going to be actually interviewing Carrie Cassidy on May 4th, because she actually worked there. So she's got a lot of insider knowledge about what's going on there. So it'll be a really good show. You guys should definitely tune in for that. But really, really what I got from Greer was he saying that these are legacy programs. So what's happening within these Trinity zones, right? What's happening is that the legacy programs are like military industrial complexes that are operating like a criminal syndicate, right? Like there is a black hat military, okay? There is a hidden like black matrix, black web, so to speak. And he's saying that it has a lot to do about threatening of the oil empire. But so I guess that ties into it on some level, but it's really about the zero point energy, the ET derived tech. Obviously, we know that that's really what it's all about. And then he also brought in the Boogosphere. If you guys have heard about the Boogosphere, a 12,000-year-old metallic orb now in civilian hands. And allegedly, this Boogosphere has been inspected by Congress. Okay, they also got their hands on it. They're trying to figure out what this thing is. Accelerating full disclosure, did the Boogosphere come through a rupture in the Trinity zones? I asked that question because, like, I'm just tuning into it psychically right now, you guys, and I'm getting like a lot of sacral chakra confirmation on this that, yeah, I'm seeing these things like coming in and out of the ruptures in the Trinity zones, that they're able to transdimensionally operate through them. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And again, why these earthquakes are going off at Area 51 right now, you guys. 17 earthquakes if you're just tuning in with me. Come on in, put a big like on this video, drop it down in the comments. Let me know, you guys, if you have heard about these earthquakes. And it could be because this is the deep state's last stand before free energy ends their control forever. Is this what we're seeing? Right? Are we seeing the last stand before all of this crumbles? A coordinated purge to protect trillions of dollars in secrets, off-planet secrets. We do know that they move the gold off planet. You guys remember, right? We talked about all of the gold at the Vatican, like not being there in the vaults, that these vaults have been emptied out, that a lot of this uh, financial wealth has been exported off Earth and things like this. You also have Operation Paperclip. The deep dive of all of this was a secret U.S. intelligence program that brought more than 1,600 German scientists and engineers and technicians to America after World War II. Guess where they set up, you guys? In the Trinity zones. Yeah. White Sands, Roswell, Los Alamos Triangle, Operation Paperclip, Area 51, Nellis, Tonopah, Trinity Zone, Operation Paperclip, like the JPL, Edwards Air Force Base, China Lake. And one of the most important ones that is connected to Amy Eskridge, which is Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, we're going to talk about this location because there's a lot going on there as well. So, you know, this is the purposes of this feels so sinister. This 33.3-degree parallel and ley line, it needs a purge, you guys, and not by taking people out, but it needs a purge, like a purification. It needs a deep cleansing because it's trying to hijack the 33 consciousness, the Christ consciousness. And that's why they're, you know, feeding off of this energy structure and system because they're so desperate for mind control technologies. I think this is what it comes back to is mind control technologies. And they want to capitalize off of these energy systems that are just far beyond conventional understanding. And they want to have control over the occult technologies, just like the Nazis did, how they were the ones that brought forth the extraterrestrial craft that they recovered and all of these things. So it's not just about developing rockets. NASA's like the front man for this. All these organizations are the front man for this to making it seem like it's about pioneering space and developing rockets and things like this. But really, it's about recovering all the non-human technologies. So the paperclip scientists were strategically placed across the Trinity sites. Huntsville, Redstone Arsenal, White Sands, Los Alamos, forming a network of the Black Project research that continues to this day. And uh, they brought with them technical knowledge, but all the connections to off-world entities. So this is huge. This is huge right now. So let me just check my comment section really quick. I'm checking it on my phone because my screen is a little hectic right now. Yeah, so you guys can see, how I've charted all this stuff. Like this is very significant, right? Like it does let me know if like having a visual of this helps you to see how clear we have Trinity sites on the 33rd parallel. To me, that just blew my mind. My mind has been blown ever since I've kind of come into this information. Final countdown, happy full moon in Scorpio. Let's go. Someone said it was like in Libra actually or something. I have not checked it. Yeah, happy full moon. Unconditional love is the superpower. Let's go. It's gonna get crazy before Gaia can heal, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot here. Let's tune into the white sands, actually. Let's get closer to this. Now, I was looking at this and I was getting just so much information out of it. A lot of it's covered up. You'll find in these places that they're doing this stuff, and I believe, was this the location that I was seeing the underground bunkers here? It might have been. Yeah, so you'll find when you tune into the missile range locations, they cover it, so you can't actually see, what's there. But when I initially put the White Sands missile range into the Scribbles map, it took me to something up here that really looked like underground facilities. See how you can see the outline in the ground? So this to me is an indicator that these are probably underground bunkers, bases, domes, and tunnels, that there's probably a secret door or something that opens up, and then underneath here there is their facilities and things like this. The White Sands Missile Range is considered to be an underground facility, so I'm guessing that this is where it is. So I think this is an access point. This is where there's open air range for missile testing that's going on. Um, some of the things energetically I see in here. So because it's a Trinity site, it is powered off the 33rd parallel. There are primary energetic signatures that are organic that are coming through here, such as the platinum ray with the violet flame. Was seeing a chakra correspondence to the throat chakra, third eye vision. Um, at this particular location, ET presence of the Zeta Reticuli hybrid programs. This is just, what I got tuning into it because I'm seeing like the Zeta seal that's coming through here. I'm getting like a high distorted, unnatural Schumann resonance frequency that they're potentially tapping into. I'm getting a 7.33 hertz with this particular spot. I'm seeing grid damage here. Fractured crystalline structures that are going deep down into the ground, like as if it's dismantling the natural crystalline ley line grid matrices. And I see that there's like guardian activity that's here as well, that there's platinum light teams that are attempting to restore the natural harmonic patterns here. And, but, right, there's so much devastation. There's actually been high thermal nuclear radiation devastation here, right? So it's like atomic bomb syndrome here, Havana syndrome effects, distorted mutations, high level ET contact. This is where bioweapons are being deployed against populations. The facility contains 7 underground levels, going really deep, right? Deep housing, that's extraterrestrial systems. So this is huge, you guys. This White Sands is like, it's like don't mess around, right? This is like big time stuff here. These are the most active zones in the United States when it comes to this disclosure. Let me see. Roswell sits exactly on the 33333 portal Roswell. Let me see here. Los Alamos. Yes. What did I have for Los Alamos? So connects into the Trinity Site along the 33rd parallel, founded during World War II, another part of Manhattan Project, Paperclip Project, designed and built the first atomic bombs. This is what happened at Los Alamos. But today it ensures the safety and reliability of the U.S. nuclear stockpile without underground testing. Whew, that's heavy, you guys. That is heavy. The largest nuclear stockpile without underground testing. Okay, tuning into this site, I'm getting emerald green, crimson fractures, heart chakra. So there's heart chakra, severe blockages here at the heart chakra. Um, this is being oversighted by the Pleiadians positively and being undersighted by Anunnaki geneticists. So Los Alamos, Anunnaki geneticist, this is what I'm getting coming through here. They're also doing things to the frequency to alter it artificially here, and they're like elevating that frequency. And then, yeah, grid damage here, radioactive crystalline structures at the quantum level. So Emerald Light teams are working to neutralize radioactive etheric damage here. The laboratory contains 9 underground levels, with the deepest housing uncovering non-human biological specimens and genetic manipulation technology. Now, I have been seeing video after video of these ETs being like interviewed, like experimenting, things like this. Like, right? This is where they're creating like the hybrid stuff here, blending human and extraterrestrial sciences, FBP, TIP, SSP, all of it. It's really amplified here. Um, so in the artificial is being amplified and enhanced, but it's basically overriding the organic technology that's here as well. So yeah, Los Alamos is huge, right? This is like so much is here. I wanted to talk about Huntsville. Let's go over and check out Huntsville. I think this is not too far from my house, actually. It actually would be a long drive. It'd probably be at least 6 hours. Yeah. What I find interesting now in these locations, as I'm tuning into them, let's get closer in there. I've been coming across these street names that are just so telling. Like Saturn Road, I'm gonna have to zoom way in there to show you guys this, but there is actually a street here, Saturn Road, and I thought, oh my gosh, like it's clearly connecting in to Saturn. Let me think it might be at the top one. Just hang with me here. The screen has to recalibrate as I shift. And I think the internet's a little slow because we have pouring rain here right now. Yeah, this is Redstone Arsenal Gate 9. So I think Saturn Road was here. No, I can't find Saturn Road. That's how it goes. Saturn Road disappeared on me. Well, either way, there is a Saturn Road that's connecting these points. Oh, here it is. Oh, I labeled it. See? I'm so smart. I helped myself. Okay, yeah, here's Saturn Road. You guys see this here? See, I'm not making this stuff up. They literally named one of the roads at Redstone Arsenal Saturn Road. So, I mean, this location's significant because this is what's connected to Amy Eskridge's death. Essentially, this is like, I think where she did her thing. Um, Home to the Redstone Arsenal, the heart of America's space and advanced propulsion programs. This place supposedly surpasses Area 51 in significance. It's where Space Command headquarters is consolidating, where anti-gravity and exotic propulsion research has occurred for decades. So, I'll be honest with you guys, like this has taken me to a whole new level of my understanding. Like I knew some of these things were here briefly in the back of my mind, but like the whole veil has been removed, right? And we're seeing straight into this stuff. We're seeing straight through it. So what I got with this location was this was connecting a gold silver vortex with a black iron core. So this is definitely tying into the black Saturn cube matrix inside of the planet. Spike matrix point, Atlantean reincarnation point, Melchizedek distortion point. It's solar plexus powered and related, also root chakra, survival energy powered and related. The ET presence that I get here is the Orion groups. Definitely Orion groups consciousness, Draco reptilian control systems. Oh my gosh. Okay, yep. I'm seeing the 666 frequency hertz. It's almost like, yeah, they're like doubling or hijacking off the 333, so they're like running it like times two, artificially maintained through frequency generators, powering it through, yeah, harmful generators. So there is grid damage. I'm seeing grid damage here. Severe etheric scarring from unauthorized timeline manipulations and manipulators. Okay, we do not consent. We rebuke, we rebuke, we rebuke. The Guardian activity that I got was Gold Flame teams working to dissolve draconian implants in the grid here. Also Nephilim as well, and Aquilin military-based operations that were connected to what, guys? What used to be there? Stonehenge, right? Stonehenge. That was a nuclear tunneler that wasn't. I mean, it was on the outside what we thought it was, directions for how to recreate society if there was some sort of cataclysm or nuclear devastation. How do you rebuild? They put seeds down there and all kinds of things to like rebuild that. But really, it was a nuclear tunneler. Like it was something that went really far and deep down under the ground. As we know, that was destroyed. But this definitely connects up to Redstone Arsenal. Um, so this is a significant spot. I mean, yeah, what does this Saturn road look like here? It's just like a line. It's going all the way, a little curvy, comes around, creates a little loop-de-loop. Okay, interesting. Some water over here. Amy Eskridge was the original whistleblower here. And she was the one, or her father was the one working on the anti-gravity technologies. Um, and so I guess she got some of her father's information and intel, and she's also working on the anti-gravity technologies. So they were working through the Institute for Exotic Science that she co-founded. And then 2022, her death officially ruled a suicide, which we know is now being reexamined. So that's why I said to you guys, it almost felt like Amy Eskridge was coming back from the dead, like she was coming back, and it was all a part of this federal investigation. But I think she has some unfinished business in the spiritual realm. Apparently, she was under some serious crazy stuff before she departed. She was, you know, under a lot of warfare, a lot of interdimensional warfare, voice to skull technologies, bioweapons, um, being visited by the men in black. Her hands looked like they were on fire on her computer, like they showed pictures of her hands on her computer, and like her whole skin from her wrist all the way to her hands was just completely singed or burned or something. And they're calling it Havana syndrome. And so, you know, she was really. it's almost like some SRA, some satanic ritual abuse. Like they almost terrorized her before her departing. So, I mean, that could set a soul on fire for some unfinished business, if you know what I mean. So again, it's just interesting how her videos came back up and a lot of people didn't even know that she had died. Like they thought that was new stuff. So something's being regenerated here with her. I really feel like it's her on the spiritual side that's pushing this forward. Like she's like a part of this, like her energy's a part of this. And she was the one that discovered that they had underground facilities here, not just advanced human technologies, that there were actually active portals being used here on Saturn Road by negative ET groups for resource extraction, consciousness harvesting, another central point for the paperclip brought forward by the rocket scientists directly from World War II. Legacy programs here, which Greer talked about, right? Legacy programs being like criminal syndicates in the Matrix, in the military, and being connected to, yeah, these scientists. So they're the ones that persisted these programs. So Amy's work and death triggered much of what we're witnessing now, and the facility contains 12 underground levels. 12 underground levels, with the deepest housing active Stargate technology and temporal manipulation devices. So this is pretty interesting. We got Huntsville with 12 underground levels. We got Los Alamos, I think it was 7 underground levels. So that was another thing that I was seeing psychically as well, is that these underground facilities are connecting together through underground tunnels. Now, if you guys remember back in the day, there was a map that actually had Orion underground tunnels that were mapped from point to point to point. I'm wondering if I got my hands on that map, if it would point to all of these specific locations. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they did link up. Definitely. Okay, so we talked about Los Alamos. We talked about, oh, we got to talk about I think the JPL. The Roswell. Now the Roswell, this is very significant. Roswell, the 333 portal at Roswell. Now this one is it's just high level ET contact location, high level whistleblower information, documented ET contact. There was the Roswell incident in 1947. There have been several documented contact events at this Trinity site, particularly. They have the 1954 White Sands encounter where Eisenhower allegedly met with the Nordic ETs. Okay, he met him down here. And that's why I said, you guys, the Nordics are coming through with all of this. Who offered technology in exchange for nuclear disarmament, an offer that was refused by the military leaders. Okay, that's a huge. But I'm wondering if they, disarmed or refused it with the Nordics, but then took the deals with the Greys. I mean, just swapped one out for another. Something happened there with that. 1968, they have the Los Alamos incident where Pleiadian craft materialized in secure laboratory and delivered a warning about timeline manipulation experiments being conducted there. This was a reported incident. 1975 Huntsville portal activation where a Draco reptilian commander negotiated technology transfer agreements with human officials exchanging advanced weapons for permission to establish underground bases. Whew, 1999, Area 51 incident where multiple ET species convened to discuss humanity's nuclear development with disagreements leading to the temporary shutdown of several black projects. So high level whistleblower testimony here. Several insiders have come forward with information about these Trinity sites. We got three major Trinity sites here. White Sands, Roswell, Los Alamos Trinity Site, Area 51, Nellis, Tonopah Trinity Site, and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Edwards Air Force Base, China Lake Trinity Site. So, some of the insiders that have come forward with information about these Trinity sites. Now, I don't think these people are listed on the scientist purge list, okay? But I think there's some other ones that have revealed things, such as Colonel Philip Corso revealed final interviews that Los Alamos housed not just nuclear technology, but recovered ET materials that were being reverse engineered for energy and propulsion systems. There was Dan Burish, formerly worked for Area 51, testified about working with captured ET biological specimens at the facility connected to the Nevada test site, describing time travel experiments and dimensional portal technology. Yeah, and the list goes on. I got just a whole list of them. So I mean, people have really been coming forward to try to expose this disclosure movement, but this is where it's all located, you guys. This is where these Trinity sites, this is in the grid on a grid level. This is where disclosure is being propagated from. It's where the disclosure movement is gaining unprecedented momentum. It's where we've had the surge of the whistleblowers, the new congressional mandates, the political pressures that are pushing the US toward what insiders they say could be the first true UFO disclosure really ever, like actually the real deal. Um, but then you have Stephen Greer, right? You guys may have noticed he's been getting pushed right now. Like he is getting tons of interviews with big platforms. Like he is trying to spin this narrative. He's trying to I guess you could say it seems like he's trying to control the narrative. He's doing a disclosure project on May 8th, 2026 that's going to get a lot of headway. He's going to have a briefing that will introduce military and government whistleblowers to the public to help catalyze the movement. So he's taken a huge role in this right now. We have Baba Vanga. You guys heard of Baba Vanga? He's one that has visions that's been linked to extraterrestrial contact, specifically referenced in 2026 as a year marked by a major global event. So he's like, bringing forth prophecy about this. Also, who else came in my field the other day? Oh, can't remember now. Oh, it was Bashar. I think I was picking up on Bashar, and it was like I don't know. I got really bad feelings about the things he's putting forward. He's actively trying to get people to be gray sympathizers. Um, the Guardian information that I have got is that we should not be sympathizers with the Greys. We should not be sympathizers with the Dracos. We should not be sympathizers with the Anunnaki. Anybody who's teaching to sympathize with them is really teaching reversal ascension mechanics and is utilizing information to weaponize it. So, yeah, one of the things the Guardian Alliance have told me about the Trinity sites, what I've got just through their understanding of it, is that it really what these signify are planetary intervention thresholds. So it's kind of like SS10, right? Everything's happening at SS10. Like it's like warfare's popping off, but at the same time, there's true organic structures there that can assist humanity if they're utilized the correct way such as underneath the Trinity sites. I know this is kind of a hard concept, but underneath the Trinity sites, there's actually Orion facilities that are meant to assist humanity, and that these facilities have been hijacked. That the facilities that the Orions brought forward were uh, their triadic logic points that are to heal bifurcation in the timelines in humanity. And so that these sites are being overtaken through negative Trinity Site harvesting, and they're creating planetary shock nodes with massive energy discharge points that are reorganizing matter at the atomic level. Every time that they're setting off bombs, testing these weapons, they're damaging the space-time field in humanity. They're literally damaging the Earth at an atomic level. And so this this actually accelerates it accelerates everything in our timelines. It actually pushes us faster and closer to rapid technological timelines. Um, there's density distortion zones. Basically, it's a beacon, right? These are beacon points because there's rips and tears in the space-time fabric in these Trinity areas where they're doing all these atrocities. They're allowing off-world entities in. It's basically like a big ET sign that they're putting, just saying like, come in our planet here. This is where the hole is. These are where the holes are. So any invader races, come on in, check on in. That's basically what they're saying because here we've tampered the fields and damaged the grid structure so much that, anything can slip through. Basically, they've taken down portions of the 12D shield in these locations. Just checking the chat for a second. Jen says Los Alamos must be contained. Definitely. They need to do containing. They need to have they don't I mean they need like oversight. There's no guardian oversight councils here. I mean, this is really where the ET infestation is pretty rampant. It's pretty rampant. I mean, there's no oversight when it comes to nuclear explosions and things like this. Like they basically in these Trinity sites, they basically have the power to create or destroy at a planetary scale. I mean, so that's global consequence. That's long-term impact. So yeah, it's a lot, you guys. Shay says, do you have a link to what you're reading? These are my notes. So what I do is I send those out on my newsletters. So if you sign up for my newsletters on my website, IndigoAngel222.com, everything I post the written form every single show I do every single time. So yeah, just be sure to subscribe to get the newsletters and you'll get all the information, the intel drop. So yeah, this was a lot for me to unpack even. I feel like I'm just kind of in the beginning stages of trying to integrate this information in my field as well on a deeper level. So what I'm thinking about this is I didn't even want to do this, honestly. I'm supposed to be thinking about like other timelines right now. I'm supposed to be on a different timeline. I'm not supposed to be stuck in this one. But I feel like something's got me hooked into this one where I'm needed on some level to reveal it, like the timing of it needs to be revealed in a proper way. And I also need to help like integrate this information, especially from a guardian lens and perspective, um, because of how chilling it is the spectacle of what's ultimately occurring here, but I do have to put a pin in this at some point and keep it moving and then maybe come back to this. I think for me what triggered me is I'm gonna be driving through this Trinity site here in a few days. So that kind of really tuned me in um to what's going on here. And I wanted to, break down the intel, but this is going to keep unfolding, you guys, because we are in a mystery, like a mystery that's unraveling. As you know, there's like the national and federal investigations over at least Amy Eskridge's death and case. So more of this is going to keep revealing itself. More of this is going to keep coming forward for everyone. And we do have to kind of stay riding the wave. We're surfing the wave as this unfolds. And I really, we have to stay it, if you're on a Guardian Gridwork level and you're wanting to clear, I would say clear the Trinity sites. If you can, say some prayers, run some transmissions through the field, cleanse the ley lines, cleanse the 33.3-degree ley line in parallel, and I would activate the original Orion facilities and the flame codes that are running through these triangulated vortexes, um, and activate them. Like I said before, White Sands Missile Range, there's platinum ray and violet flame overlays that are running there, and there was a lot of throat chakra correspondence with the White Sands Missile Range, which is here. And there was also Huntsville, I seen gold silver vortex connections to the black iron core, so that has to be cleared all the way down to the 1D earth, root chakra energy, solar plexus energy, and also the Los Alamos. So Los Alamos, which was here. So that one was heart chakra clearings there, severe blockages, heart chakra blockages, emerald green, crimson fractures running through there, Palladian observations and oversights. So really anchoring the Palladian frequency into Los Alamos to clear. There was some information I wanted to get you guys on China Lake. Um, I might have to bring that through on the next one, but that's over here in the JPL triangulated corridor. Let me just zoom into that one really quick. So this is a very tight triangle, right? It's like I don't even know what angulation of a triangle that would be, like an acute triangle or something. You know how, where's all my geometry people? What kind of triangle is that when it's really thin like that? Um, but it is a triangle. JPL is in the middle, and China Lake is at the apex of this. Now, they're doing some really not good things up here at China Lake. This was, I think it was blacked out. Let me zoom in. Yeah, there wasn't much you could see on the map. They cover these places, right? They don't allow you to see what's actually going on. You can see here, I mean, you can tell because you can see like part of like a city, right? Or something that's kind of sticking out. And then you have this whole massive area that's just like covered up. Like they put like uh, a veil over the top of it or like a plate or something, right? They block it so you can't actually see what's underneath this whole portion of the field. But yeah, what I got was, I mean, there might be a lake under there, you guys, that they're hiding. They're hiding like a whole uh, template, a whole water program, a whole deep underwater inner earth passageway, um, portals, underwater uh, tunnels that go to China. I mean, why is this called China Lake? Is this some sort of like underground interdimensional highway to China? What are they bringing through here? We know there's, Orion Stargates over in China. So there's some connection point here, but it's like the worst of the worst is going on here at this. I'll have to bring that information forward because it's very specific to what they're doing here, but it doesn't sound very good. I'll just put it this way. What they're doing at China Lake does not sound good. And then there was another point here that was really activated. I think it was Edwards Air Force Base. Let me tune into this one. Yeah, this one again covered, right? They put these like massive covers where you can see things kind of coming out and it's covered. So you can't see what's going on underneath it. Why are they doing that? What are they hiding there? Something that they're hiding all the way over to here. Something black is coming out over here. I think this was the one I wanted to tell you guys about. Oh, this is JPL. Okay. Now, I might be missing. There's another location that's kind of in the middle of the mountains. Might be up here. And this Trinity, that's Area 51. Now, Area 51, if you guys have ever tuned into Area 51, again, they're covering that very well. Um, I do know that there's a point here that you can look. So you have to actually hike up to this place, this bald mountain here. I guess there's a lookout point. If you have really, really good binoculars, you can see what's going on here at Area 51. But yeah, they have this covered. You can't see. Very interesting how they have multiple locations covered though, right? It's not just Area 51. Like they got something covered over here. Can't see nothing. Nellis Air Force Base. Nellis Air Force Base is where they had all the contacts with the tall whites. You guys may have remembered the guy that was talking about the tall whites. Drop it down in the comments if you remember his name. It was Charles Hall, Charles James Hall. He was the former U.S. Air Force weather observer who claims to have interacted with and documented the tall whites, extraterrestrials, and he detailed his alleged experiences at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada during the 1960s. And there's a book series and a documentary about it called Walking with the Tall Whites. And this was where he was like placed out in, you know, this region and he was alone. He was supposed to be documenting things he's seen in the sky, whatever it was. And then he started having contact. I think it was with someone that he called the lady. Was this his story? Was it the lady or was this someone else I'm getting it mixed up with? Or was that Chris Bledsoe? So, but anyways, I think he had a contact with a female tall white. And they came and gave him a bunch of information and told him how they were actively working with the US government and things like this. So, that's connected to this whole Trinity area, Area 51. Um, Tonopah stuff went down here as well. Maybe this is the one that's surrounded by the multiple mountain ranges. I'm tuning in. No, there's only one mountain. Yeah, this is a significant. I can't remember what's going on here though. But you know what's interesting? They have this Grand Army of the Republic Highway. I thought that was a interesting name. The Interstellar Highway. Yeah, you guys. So the 33rd parallel right now is lit. And now I can see that it is the 33rd, 33.3 degree parallel that functions these Trinity sites and functions the Orion facilities. So if you're wondering where this holographic architecture, how it's organized, how these things come into existence, it's all about the um, numerological conditioning. It's about the geometric patterning. The 33.3 degree parallel is running triunal geometric oscillating patterning, right? That creates the consciousness in the land and the formations of the setups of the organizations that exist upon it. It instructs the consciousness. So it makes sense that there would be multiple Trinity zones around the 33.3 degree parallel. This is all activating right now. As you guys know, there were 17 earthquakes that just hit around Area 51. And like I just said, is that coincidence? Is it not coincidence? You know, why? It's kind of strange, right? It's kind of strange that all of a sudden we have earthquakes that are going off, 4.4 magnitude quakes that are going 2.5 miles underground, just as Trump's releasing the UFO files from the Pentagon. So it makes you wonder, are these calculated? Are they trying to collapse down experiments, programs, bunkers, force breeder programs? You know, if they're not, then, what's going on? Why would you be creating catastrophic stress on a fault line? You know, like induced. So it's a lot, you guys. It is a lot. So basically, what I got was on an organic grid worker level, the Trinity sites are symbolic rupture and transformation points. So the ET narratives, um, some of it is unverified, right? Some of it is speculation, but some of it is like highly documented, and some of it is interdimensional and multidimensional. So it is a range of interpretation of frames and thresholds that are requiring us to maintain balance and stabilization within all of this. And the confirmed reality is one thing that we know for sure that humans that we think are the humans are building technology that is led by that is nuclear development, and that in itself is creating historical consequences that are going to follow with all of this. Like, I don't think you can continue to just detonate nuclear devices somewhere and um that there's consequences for that. Like I said, rupture sites, creating holes in the organic matrix, right? Allowing who knows what to come in and on our planet, as they just activated CERN just a few days ago and things like this. So I think, this is all tied to the scientist's death. This is all tied to this seismic activity. And we must recognize that we're at a critical juncture point in human history right now. Unprecedented, no doubt about it. The body count is rising under the disclosure programs. Hopefully, nothing happens to anyone, but you do see some of these bigger people that are getting the center stage right now, like Greer. He's saying some interesting things. It doesn't seem like he's really backing down on the narrative, so I don't think we should either. We should like not be afraid to go after these big stories. We should not be afraid to investigate these things and continue to be a part of the efforts that try to bring forward the truth and also collapse down things that are just, you know, an old dying paradigm anyways. This is an old dying paradigm. That's why it's coming up the way it is. This is actually on the way out. So we just have to stay vigilant with all of this, but trust the grid right now. Trust what we are being guided to, trust what we are being shown. The Trinity sites are a part of this awakening. We have to clear what is distorted over the top of them so the truth can surface. And we can also clear up these Orion facilities that are there. So yeah, guys, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know within this Gridwork update what you think I should focus on next within this transmission, because I know this was really heavy. And I'll try to break it down even better the next time I jump on. Okay, I love you all so much. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. And I hope everyone has a beautiful evening. And I will see you guys on the next show. Namaste and take care.